Mercedes' difficult test in Bahrain last week led many of its Formula One rivals to suspect that the German automaker is playing games. After all, we've heard the same stories from Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton about the car underperforming in recent years, only for them to show up and demolish the competition. This time, however, things might be different. So without further ado, let's take a look at Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes' woes following the second preseason test in Bahrain. Welcome to F1 Tech, where we explore the inner workings of one of the most intensely exciting, death-defying sports in the world. Join us as we deep dive into the drivers, teams, and cars of Formula One. If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. Now, let's get started. In the past, the Brackley-based squad has had many low-key winters, only to show up at the first race and blitz the opposition. Even last year, when Mercedes appeared to be completely on the back foot due to its inability to get on top of its car in the test, it still managed to overtake Red Bull and win the season opener. Despite skepticism that Mercedes is hiding its true speed, and the obvious fear that it will find something in its factory this week to unlock what it requires, the team appears to be starting the season behind. The sensation is what prompted Lewis Hamilton to declare that, with the car as it is now, he will not be able to win races. At the moment, I don't think we'll be competing for wins. Obviously next week we'll get a much better showing of our pace, but I think other people will surprise maybe. People keep talking about us talking ourselves down, but it's a bit different this year. We're not the quickest at the moment. I think Ferrari looked to be the quickest, perhaps Red Bull and then maybe us or McLaren, I don't know, but we're currently not at the top. From the outside, the situation appears similar to last year, when Mercedes' W13 appeared difficult to handle during testing in Bahrain, only for Hamilton to beat Max Verstappen to victory in the first race at the same venue. However, Hamilton stated that the situation was different this year, adding that, despite his reservations, he still believes Mercedes' car had potential. It feels a lot different to 2021. It's not going to look as it did last year with the difficult session we had and then switch over to the race. I think we have far bigger challenges this time and turnarounds that will take a lot longer. From what I'm told, we have a lot of pace to find, but there is potential within our car to get us there. We've just got to learn to extract it and fix some of the problems, which is what we're working on. Everyone is doing such an incredible job back at the factory, working as hard as they can, but we have some hurdles to overcome. Primarily, whereas Mercedes simply could not find the right balance with the W12 in the test last year, the drivers and team are having a lot of difficulty extracting consistent pace this time around. The car has much worse porpoising than key rivals Red Bull and Ferrari, and Mercedes has yet to figure out how to fix it. This isn't just a problem at the end of straights. The car also suffers from the phenomenon of the floor touching the ground in some corners when pushed to the limit, which doesn't bode well for delivering consistent downforce. Mercedes' new recruit George Russell stated that the reigning Constructors' Champions have work to do if they want to fight at the front in 2022. I think it's been pretty productive, but very intriguing at the same time. Obviously, so much to learn about these 2022 cars with the tyres. It's pretty clear some of the issues that a lot of teams faced with the bouncing, just trying to get on top of that really. Yeah, it's definitely bouncing around a lot from within. It's not the comfiest in all honesty. I don't really care about comfort if the performance is there, but at the moment the performance isn't there. We're a step behind our rivals, and we do have a lot of work to do between now and next week to understand, because in every condition, the Red Bull and the Ferrari seem a step ahead of us. And surprisingly enough, while the Mercedes W13 appeared dramatically different in Bahrain than it did in Barcelona, with its slim side pods leaving the paddock in awe on Thursday, Russell said the Silver Arrows are still dealing with the same issues they did in Barcelona. From the outside, it looks drastically different, but looks aren't everything, is what many people say. It's still the same fundamental car underneath its skin, and it still has the same fundamental issues that we faced in Barcelona. As I said, I think we probably optimized the performance a bit more in Barcelona than we did in Bahrain, but nevertheless, we are struggling to find out how to unlock a bit more. As it stands, Red Bull are looking incredibly strong, Ferrari are looking really solid, and we have some work to do. I don't think they're exceptional. I think we're probably not as competitive as we would like. Russell maintained his belief that a championship-winning team would eventually realise their full potential ahead of the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix on March 18th. I believe the guys are going to get to the bottom of it. There is potential there, we just need to figure out a way to unlock that performance. However, the team has found itself in a bit of a bind in that the more downforce is added to the car, as with the Bahrain test update, the more that pushes the car down, the worse the porpoising becomes, and there is no improvement in lap time. As a stopgap measure, Mercedes may find that it needs to reduce downforce to reduce the car being pushed down at high speeds in order to improve its lap time. The team spent a lot of time in Bahrain, experimenting with suspension settings and ride heights, before deciding at the end of the test to hack away some of the car's floor and lift the rear of the car a little to see if that would help matters. Andrew Shovlin, trackside engineer director, stated that the team received positive feedback from its late test experiments. We've made a bit of progress with the bouncing, which in turn has made the car less of a handful on the limit, and it also feels like we've made a step in the right direction with setup today. There's still a lot of pace to come if we can make further gains on the bouncing and get the car more settled. But it's not just the porpoising that's causing trouble. This year, car weight has become a major issue for teams, with few teams coming close to the minimum weight limit. The variation across the grid is thought to be quite significant, with Alfa Romeo believed to be the lightest car on the market. The word on the pit lane is that there may be significant differences between the top 3 teams as well, with Ferrari said to be significantly lighter than the heavier Mercedes. Given that 10 kilograms of weight is generally accepted in F1 to be the equivalent of 0.3 seconds of lap time, any difference in mass of a few kilos could play a significant role. On Saturday, during the final round of testing, AlphaTauri's Pierre Gasly took to the Sakir circuit to simulate a race scenario by battling Hamilton's Mercedes. After the spirited mock battle, Gasly shared his thoughts on the fight. It's safe to say that the Frenchman has low expectations for the Brackley-based team this season. I think the conclusion is Mercedes probably doesn't look as good as they were in the past. Despite Mercedes' current difficulties, the reality of its situation is not that it's stuck with an uncompetitive car and has no chance of catching up. Mercedes recognizes the W13's potential and the downforce required to compete with the best at the front. It simply needs to find a way to unleash its strengths and run a lap without being hindered by porpoising. The key is just how long it takes for them to find the answers they need. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and don't forget to click the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. What are your thoughts on Mercedes' lack of speed? Are they just sandbagging? If not, do you think they'll be able to resolve their issues before the season starts, or will they struggle with them throughout the season? Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and we'll see you later on F1 Tech.